Hello and happy Thursday, everyone. We are live today, visiting with you virtually, the School Discovery Network, to talk about an amazing topic, the Texas Education Savings Account. And this is our town hall. Tonight, we will refer to the Education Savings Account as ESA, and some of you may know about the ESA in the term of a school voucher. And we have an opportunity to have questions and answers live today. So we will get started in just a few moments. I'm going to place myself on mute. If you are available to check in with us, we would love to know your name and where you're from, and we'll get started in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned.
Good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. Um, my name is Inga Cotton, and I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms. And as I was studying my notes and getting ready for this, I was thinking back about back in 2012 when we first started as San Antonio Charter Moms, and when I was this very scared parent of a young autistic boy and a young girl, and trying to research schools and not finding the tools that I needed, and just being scared and frustrated. And I'm really happy we've got a whole team, behind us here. Um, Working to make this much more accessible and understandable for families. So if you are feeling concerned or scared, don't worry. We've got a whole team here. We've got resources. We've got lots of tools to help you. So the purpose tonight is to explain what's going on with Texas education savings accounts. And I'm really excited about this opportunity, but I understand why people have so many questions and where they're concerned about what's going on. So we're going to give an overview as best we can, because there's still some gaps in what we know. But I've done research about the statute that passed in May. I've been researching the proposed regulations, the RFP from the comptroller's office, things like that. We've been talking with experts about special education and how that will impact ESAs. So we're going to share an overview about the ESA program. If you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on Facebook, we love to see your questions. So drop your questions in the comments, and we're going to try to address those questions as we go along. So, all right, so here goes. Cool. Actually, before I dive in any further, if it's easier to just click on the link in the comments, we want to get to know our audience, and we want to keep in touch with you. We have newsletters and resources that will help you do better research about education. So use the QR code on the screen, just fill out the quick form, or click on the link, and that way we'll be able to keep in touch with you. So, okay, so here's an overview of what I'm going to cover today, talking about education savings accounts. So yeah, that's what ESA stands for, Education Savings Account. What it means is that families will have access to funds from the state of Texas to cover things like private school tuition, therapy, technology, a whole bunch of education expenses that they would have previously had to pay out of pocket. And this is a brand new program in Texas, but it's been around for decades in other states. But in Texas, it's going off to a big start. In the first 2 years, there's $1 billion allocated to the program. And what's exciting about this is the biggest change that's happened since I started this organization. Because up till now, we've mostly been talking about things like charter schools, magnet schools, in-district charters, homeschooling, but this is a completely new program because it'll allow families who are choosing private school or homeschooling to get additional financial resources for what they're doing. Okay, so when is the program going to start? So right now, we're in sort of an application phase, and then the idea is that by next fall, 2026, there would be students enrolled in private schools or micro schools or homeschool programs using funds from the ESA program. So what we're trying to do is create resources to help families apply and be able to take advantage of ESAs, but it wouldn't be until next fall that the students would actually be in programs funded by ESAs. So which children are going to be eligible for this? So it's meant to be a universal ESA, right? So, but there are some basic requirements. So the student needs to be a U.S. citizen or legal resident, and they have to be eligible to attend Texas public schools. So one thing that we encourage folks is just to have the documentation ready. In fact, just this afternoon, I was studying the proposed regulations, and they have they specify what are some of the documents that folks need. So and then it's going to be important to apply on time because there is a limited amount of money that's allocated. Unfortunately, we don't know yet what the official timeline will be. So, okay, so in case if you're just joining us now, I'm Inga with School Discovery Network, and we want to keep in touch with you. So you can use the QR code on the screen and fill out a quick form, or you can look in the comments below for a link, and that'll take you to the form so that you can keep in touch with us. Okay, so I'm going to continue with our virtual town hall about education savings accounts. So I mentioned earlier that the amount of funds available for ESAs is limited, and so there's going to be a lottery, and the different applications are going to be prioritized. And so here's a summary of what the priority order is. So top priority goes to siblings. So if one child gets approved for the ESA, then their siblings are automatically also approved, which I think that's a great idea because it's hard enough to get kids to multiple campuses. So you definitely want kids going to the same school if possible. Now, besides siblings, there's other groups broken down based on whether the student has a diagnosed disability and also based on the household income of the family. So the next highest priority is students with disabilities who come from a low or middle income family. So that's set at 5 times the federal poverty level, roughly $160,000 a year. So if your household fits that, so if you have a household income less than roughly $160,000 a year and your child is diagnosed with a disability, that means that you have a very high chance of your child qualifying for an ESA. So, okay, then the next priority group is low income students and then middle income students. And everyone else means the families with household income of higher than roughly $160,000 per year. And there's a cap that no more than 20% of the funds can go to families in that high income group. So those are the priority levels. So siblings and low and middle income students with disabilities get the highest priority. So what can ESA funds be used for? So the situation that you've probably heard the most about in the news or in discussions is the idea that a child could go to a private school and their tuition costs would be paid for by the state through the education savings account. And so it's not just the tuition costs, it could be other costs at that private school. So the cost of uniforms, the cost of breakfast and lunch, textbooks, technology, transportation. There's a whole set of expenses that could be covered through the ESA that flow through that private school. But there's other situations besides private school that the funds could be used for. So let's say a child is enrolled at a private school or they're homeschooled, but they also need extra support for learning. Like maybe they need a therapy, like speech therapy, applied behavior analysis, occupational therapy, physical therapy, school psychologist. So any of those types of services, therapy services, those could be covered by an ESA. Same thing with tutoring. So if a child needs extra help with math or reading, those tutoring expenses could be covered by an ESA. And then there's additional vendors that could count. There's things like job certifications, like higher education. They can be vendors. There's just a whole range, and also childcare providers, right? So ESAs are meant to go younger than kindergarten. So there's a um, pretty wide range of expenses besides just, I think, what people are most familiar with, maybe, which is the case of private school tuition being paid for by the ESA. Um, so how much money does the ESA cover? Um, the answer is it depends, but for that typical case we are talking about, which is the child is going to an accredited private school, the ESA is going to come in at roughly $10,000. So we're still waiting for like the comptroller's office and the Texas Education Agency to get their numbers together, run the formula. So it's a number that's based on the amount of money that the state is sending to local school districts and charters. And so some sort of a portion of that is money that could go into the ESA, and then the student could access that. Instead of the money going to a traditional public school or a charter school, the money goes into the ESA, and the family is able to access that and designate which private school or which vendor the money goes to. So um, the amount of the ESA can be higher than $10,000 if it's for a student with a disability. And basically, the student needs to get that initial evaluation, and based on what it specifies in their IEP, right, the individualized education program, then um, the amount could go up to $30,000. But again, it depends on what it says in the IEP, like what type of setting or what services are specified in the IEP in order to serve that student well. So, but that opens up the possibility for private schools to serve students with special needs in a way that maybe has not been typical for private schools in the past. So another case is families can access ESA money for homeschooling, and basically a homeschool is basically a non-accredited private school, right? But the amount is capped at $2,000 per year per student. But that still gives a lot of flexibility, and it could lead to families kind of pooling their resources and forming micro schools where like multiple families with this homeschool allotment put the money together and are able to do a lot of interesting things with those resources. So that's the how much question, right? Is so it's roughly $10,000 per student. It can be higher for a student with a disability. It could be lower if the family chooses to homeschool or they're in a non-accredited setting. So the question about when to apply is still kind of an open question. We're still waiting on some guidance um, from the comptroller's office about how it's going to work. So actually, I'll tell you. Here's what we know now. There is a okay, so the comptroller's office is going to contract out with a CEAO, Certified Education Assistance Organization, or up to 5 of them, right? They're going to be the ones setting up the website that has the portal that families will be able to access, and they'll be able to find out which private schools are going to accept ESA money, right? Which is not a given. Not every private school is going to choose to participate in the program, but also which providers and which vendors, right? Like which tutoring companies and which therapists. Which places selling education supplies. So they'll be listed in that portal. That is going to have the application. It's going to have instructions like a handbook about how to apply. And if a family is approved, that's how they'll be able to log in, see what their balance is, choose their providers and vendors and schools, and have money sent to those providers. So, but we're still waiting on that. I think the contracts are supposed to be signed sometime by October. So I'm optimistic that after that sort of mid-October date, that we should get more specifics about what the ESA portal is going to look like and what the timeline will be. My best guess, every year we've been celebrating National School Choice Week in late January. That seems like a likely time when there would be a lot of focus on the ESA application. But there's still a lot that we don't know. So my best guess is early 2026 is when the ESA applications will be happening. So, but here's what we do know. There's going to be zero cost to the family to apply for the ESA. It's going to be on a website, and hopefully it's nice and simple. We'll see. I can promise we're continuing to do research and find important information and share it as best we can. So we have more of these ESA town halls coming up. I guess, hey, maybe my team in the comments, y'all can share some of those links that we saved up. So we have another ESA town hall in person coming up September 18th, and that one's going to have a special education focus. So you can sign up for that. We have an interest list so that you can keep getting updates as we learn more about ESAs. Then we'll be sharing more about that. And there is some information that's been posted recently on the comptroller's website. So they added an FAQ, and they also added interest lists that you can sign up from the comptroller's office. So, and you can specify, like, I'm a private school, I want updates for private schools, or I'm a parent or student, I want those updates, or I'm a district or charter school, I want those updates. So those are available from the comptroller's office. So we're going to keep following that. We're going to keep sharing that. Okay, so here's where I take a little water break, and encourage y'all, if you're just joining us or you haven't signed in yet, use the QR code on the screen and sign in. And also our team has dropped a link to this form in the comments. So you can, that way we'll know how to reach you. You'll start receiving our newsletter and get updates about education stuff, including ESAs. Let me get my water. Okay. So as you may know, traditional public schools and charter schools have to administer the STAR test, and private schools have not. But in order for a private school to be part of the ESA program, they are going to have to do testing. But it doesn't have to be the STAR. It has to be just some national test. And that requirement doesn't kick in until third grade. But this is when I was talking earlier about the different amounts. So in order to qualify for that full $10,000 amount, it has to be a private school that's going to do some kind of testing situation and report that data back to the state. So it's a way to check to see, is this working, right? Are we getting results for the ESA program? So another wrinkle, if it's an either or proposition, right? So if your child is enrolled full-time at a traditional public school, like a neighborhood district school, or at a public charter school, then you're not able to access the ESAs. We get this question a lot because maybe a child is in a public school, but they could benefit from tutoring. Unfortunately, the ESA funds are not available for that. So you would have to withdraw your child from the charter school or traditional public school in order for them to be able to access the ESA. Now, you wouldn't have to withdraw them until the summer, right? But then they would switch over. So now, an interesting wrinkle is that, let's say there's a micro school and some of the kids are teenagers and they're ready to take advanced math or science. And it can be stressful as a homeschool parent to be teaching advanced subjects. Then that micro school or homeschoolers, they could contract with a charter school or a traditional public school just a la carte for math and science classes, things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this develops and what kind of combinations people assemble of different solutions to make sure that their kids are getting what they need. Okay, so we touched on this earlier. So the ESA is universal for kindergarten through 12th grade, right? So that means that any student who meets those requirements, right, like has to be a resident of Texas, has to be U.S. citizen or naturalized, but all of those kids are for K through 12 are eligible. Now for pre-K, there are ESA kids eligible for pre-K, but it's limited to the kids who would already have access to free public pre-K. So Texas does not have universal public pre-K. It's limited to certain groups that need extra support. So if the child would already be eligible for public pre-K, then yes, they can apply for an ESA to cover pre-K. So, okay, questions. Okay, I love this part. Okay, so let me go to the comments. And hey, team, y'all are welcome to like drop things in the chat if you want to highlight stuff for me. Okay, so I am, let's see. Okay, my team has been doing a great job of dropping links, so I'm really grateful to you guys for that. Okay, let's see. Let me see the questions that folks are asking. Oh, okay, so question here. Approved facilities would be listed on a website. Which one again? Ooh, that is a really good question. Okay, so unfortunately, we don't have access to that website yet. It has not been created. So where we're at in the process is that the Texas Comptroller issued an RFP and they're looking at bids. So the deadline was July 30th. So they're looking at the bids from different providers or different contractors who could set up these portals. So but as soon as we find out what that is, we will share it. And there is an interest list that you can sign up for from the state of Texas, and it will tell you, it'll send you updates. But we're going to be sharing that information. So yeah, we don't know yet now. And then, like I said earlier, it's not every private school is going to participate in the ESA program, and especially in the first year. Like we've talked to private schools who are just like, well, we're gonna stay on the sidelines right now and see how this plays out. We don't know how this is all gonna work. So you'll need to kind of match up the private school you apply to with qualifying for the ESA. Hopefully it all matches up, and you'll be able to use the ESA money for those kids. So that was a great question. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Oh, early matters has a question. Hey, y'all. More details on how ESAs can be leveraged in childcare centers for 4-year-olds. Okay, let's see. So there's let's see if I have access to this. Okay, so on the TEA website, there is um, a list that shows these are the kids that qualify for free public pre-K. So if you're not sure if you qualify, you can check this list, or you could check with your local public school district, right, for your neighborhood school, and just say, hey, would we qualify for free public pre-K? And if you do qualify, then you should definitely look at the ESA application, because then once you apply for the ESA, that gives you access to any childcare center that chooses to participate in the ESA, right? So what that means is you could choose your local neighborhood public school for pre-K, or you'd have access to any childcare center that's part of that ESA portal, right? So the previous question was asking, okay, where are we going to find this list? Well, we don't have the list yet. But we will, and families will be able to now. And there's protections built in, right? So now I'm not as knowledgeable about pre-K stuff as I am about K through 12, but I know that there's a lot of initiatives from including Early Matters, right, to raise the quality of early childhood education. So there's I'm going to garble the name. It's like something Star, right? We're in Texas, Lone Star State, right? But there's a program that promotes quality, and that like certifies certain childcare centers as offering not just daycare, but like actually promoting early learning in young children. And so what we want to see is ESA money being used by families to enroll their children in these early childhood programs that have like extra enrichment, right? Like where it's not just supervision just to keep them safe during the day while parents are working, but also helping the kids be prepared for kindergarten. And that's really important to set a foundation for those kids to learn in K through 12. And it also allows more parents to participate in the workforce and work outside the home, which is really important for our economic growth and for people's personal fulfillment, right? Like every parent should be able to choose, am I spending time at home with my kids, maybe a home-based business, or am I able to work outside the home, knowing that my child is in high quality childcare? So I think that's what's so exciting about the ESA statute, including childcare centers. So thank you. Great question, Early Matters. And if there's anything I left out, or any corrections you want to make, drop those in the comments and I'll share them on screen as well. Okay, let's see. Let me keep looking at questions. Okay, I think that's all I see in the questions for now. I have some follow-ups and housekeeping. If anyone thinks of any more questions while I'm talking, just drop those in the comments, and our team will address them. And oh yes, if you haven't signed in yet, please use the QR code on the screen, or check the comments. Our team has posted the form there. But we want to keep in touch with you. We want to keep sharing updates, because as you can tell, this is sort of a work in progress, right? Like, we don't know what the official website will be, what the portal will be, what the application timeline will be, who all the schools and providers are going to be. But we're going to keep sharing about that. Okay, so let me share some reminders, some key information. I want to go back to what I said at the beginning, which is this has been a long time coming, but I'm excited about this opportunity for families, because it's going to create a wider pool of schools that families will be able to choose from. And we talk a lot about learning models and finding what's going to be the right fit for your children, because kids are so unique, and they're going to do their best in a setting where they feel like they belong, and where the teachers are excited to be there, and the families feel like they're part of a community. And that's what I want to see for every family. So I'm excited about private schools being more accessible to families who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford the tuition. Like, it really could be life-changing to get your kid into a higher quality school than what you might otherwise have been able to afford. So, but as I mentioned earlier, there's a $1 billion allocation, which sounds like a lot of money, but it is limited. And so when we do find out what the timeline is, you want to be ready to apply and participate in that lottery. And there's still a lot we don't know. So maybe by October, hopefully we'll know, who are these, who's running the portal, and maybe more what the timeline will be. And my best guess is early 2026 that families will be able to actually participate in the ESA application. So that is a snapshot of where we are now. Now, if you stuck with us this long, I'm very grateful. And we are collecting data so that we can keep improving. So the QR code on the screen now, it's actually not the check-in form. This is an exit ticket. And this data is very important to us, because we want to know, was this information meaningful for you? Could it be changing your decision-making? Are you more likely to access an ESA after getting this information? So that's why the exit ticket is important. So please use the QR code, or my team can add stuff on screen, and you'll be able to share your feedback with us and help us keep improving. Oh, hey, Early Matters, thank you. Texas Rising Star. That's what I was looking for. But yes, Texas Rising Star is the designation for those high quality early childhood programs. And that's a great thing to look for when you're researching high quality pre-K programs. So thank you, Early Matters. Okay, so this last slide is more about what we offer and how to keep in touch with us. So our website is schoolsgoverynetwork.org. We have a schools map, we have district profiles, we have a quick start guide, lots of stuff that you can DIY, and hopefully get to a short list of schools that you want to visit, you want to tour, you want to go to an info session. Those things are that's what the website is meant to do. It's what I wish I had when I was researching stuff for my son. So also, we are very active on social media. So we are at Discover Schools on a lot of platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, X. You'll find us lots of places. We have a Facebook group, and we're over 15,000 members. So come and find us there. It's called School Discovery Network group. The URL still says San Antonio Charter Moms, but that is the proper group. We have an email newsletter that goes out once a week. It's called The Hoot. And so if you interact with us, like if you fill out the exit ticket or the check-in form, we can get you added to the mailing list for that. There's also a sign up on our website. Also on our website, you can sign up for one-on-one consultations that we're piloting. So the idea is that if this information is overwhelming and you would rather spend 50 minutes or so with an expert and come out of that with a list of schools to apply to, that's the service that we're starting to offer. So there's a login for that on our website, the one-on-one consultations. So, and we are already gearing up for our School Discovery Day event series. So the first event will be October 18th at the San Antonio Zoo. And that event was a big hit last year. We had over 1,100 people come through. We had, I forget, 50 some tables, lots of different school models. So we had charter schools, we had school districts like traditional public schools. We had some private schools, some tutoring services, homeschool co-ops, lots of different things to choose from. So you'll get closer to the right answer for your family at School Discovery Day. You can meet a lot of folks in one day. And as I mentioned, we're continuing to offer ESA town halls. So our next event will be in person, and it's going to be on September 18th. And we're teaming up with AIM Educate, which is a wonderful organization. They have tons of experts in special education. So, but their leader, Bay Fallis, is going to be co-presenting with me, answering lots of specific questions about special education that I can't answer. And she just has a great perspective about how ESAs would impact families who have children with disabilities. And she has a lot of knowledge about how special education works already in the system and how that's going to intersect now that private schools and therapies and those additional services will be available. So the town hall on September 18th is going to be hosted at Fusion Academy, which is a really interesting, innovative private school. It has a lot of one-on-one support for students. They're located up in the Stone Oak area. So we're really grateful to Fusion Academy for hosting us, and to Bay Fallis and the team at AIM Educate for partnering with us so we can have a SPED-focused ESA town hall. So, okay, this is where I asked my team, did I forget anything? Okay. No, they're not hollering at me at the chat, so I must have done okay. Okay, well, shout out to my team. Y'all are amazing. I used to do this stuff all by myself, and it works so much better. Especially thanks to Jeannie for the opening up at the beginning, to Roy for being our Spanish translator. Jaime and Laura, y'all are great. Thank you so much. Okay, so we see you guys in person on September 18th, and then we're going to queue up another virtual event later in September. So, all right, take care, y'all.